Hello and welcome to another coaching video, and in this one we have a Platinum Graves and a Platinum Zac. Yes, that is a Soraka top lane. Yes, this isn't Korea. However, Korean High-Elo specifically. However, are these games still winnable, and how should you approach them if you actually end up having in your mind these thoughts, look, I'm being trolled, the game's unwinnable? The most important part about this is how we approach win conditions and how much control you actually perceive you have as a jungler. Zac, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. We know that this guy's going to start on the bottom side. We know he's most likely going to rinse and abuse the ranged top laner, and Garen's going to get fed. So as Graves, if you kind of accept these terms from level 1, what can you do to carry the game? What can you do that makes it so at least you can end the game and say, I did as much as I possibly could to win this game? Because at the end of the day, that's it. If you can do the best job you can every single game, you'll win at least 60% of your games minimum, right? If you play consistently at a high level, trying to actually win every game you play, you will. It's just how it works. The problem is consistency is a difficult thing. We might see potential Zachary ganks on the bottom side here. Obviously, we see him go to the mid lane here, but the bottom lane doesn't know that, right? Because we live in this as Graves cuts in for the kill, but I'm sorry, for the counter gank. But I mean, at this stage again, look at it. Look at it. We know the Zac starts on the bottom side here, right? But we don't know if he's going to go Rat, Raptors, Krugs, and gank bottom lane, which, you know, it's not a terrible assessment. That is the meta we live in. And then it cuts off the Graves as pathing down to the bottom side, something we're talking a lot about this week because we're seeing it a lot. I have to let you know that you can get the jungle video courses on Virkayu.gg for a 95% discount with the new membership program. Get access to the courses you need to achieve your goals by the end of Split 1 and for all of Split 2. Not only that, I'm also including a private Discord with this so that you can come and join me, get access to free coaching, free champion infographics, weekly lectures and Q&As, as well as a free video every week only released within the Virkayu.gg Jungle Club Discord. If you want to buy the courses standalone, you of course can still do that, along with a free jungle improvement PDF, the video courses, plus full access to the Discord. Virkayu.gg is even more a jungler's learning paradise. Click the link below to climb faster than Warwick chasing a 1 HP Jinx across the map. Or again, he could just flex into the mid lane gank because, hey, look, I got a Zed, I can snowball it, it's a Malzahar, let's burn the passive and go all in. And we could also just go top lane. Like, you could cut your blue side out and just go gank top lane if it's looking primed and goatee. But he decides to go to the mid lane here, and I actually have no issue with this because Malzahar is always, these players just end up being auto-push machines regardless of anything else. And so, you know, burning the flash there, saving your clapping cheeks for after the flash is burned, getting the ignite tick. Graves here now has to go, okay, look, can I actually do anything about this? Is it worth showing here? No, I don't really think it is. Now, you are going to get a lot of experience, and you are going to be able to hold this to a certain degree, but the Malzahar does have TP. At this stage, I kind of would want to be still a little bit hidden. You know, I wouldn't want to rinse the wave too much, and obviously now it's going to benefit the Malzahar a little bit, but, right? Like, if I look at this, I will definitely posture inward to see if I can do anything, but once he's dead, I like remaining hidden just a little bit, just for the first rotation. I don't want to show the Zac exactly where I am. Now, I know that's not always theoretically correct, but I feel like when you're in the lower elos, right, then it's kind of an interesting concept just because you being hidden and maintaining farming tempo control just means you will at least get strong and they have no idea what you're doing. And eventually when you show, you have a lot more power. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what we're thinking here. Obviously, the fact of the matter is because the Graves did that, the Zed is staying around with no purchase, the Malzahar is coming back to base basically with no purchase. You really want to help this Malzahar right now. You really want to help this Malzahar, right? So here, knowing that this is going to be the case, and you going to the blue side, if the guy ends up staying out, which most low elo players will still do, they won't. Like, the Zac should help him shove and then reset, right? So that the Zed can go spend his cash money, go from the kill, come back to lane in a healthier way. Now, because the Zac doesn't help the Zed push it out, Malzahar TP's in, Graves did his thing, he goes here. A good jungler would be right in this lane right now killing the Zed. This would be a dead Zed, or at least burning his flash and chunking him and compromising him greatly before the Malzahar has lost all his HP. Because now the Malzahar has lost all his HP, he can't hang around here either, so. Let's see what occurs, but I think junglers, think about that. Think about how you set up your laners to fail. Let's see if the Graves actually is looking at this or not. He is! Wonderful! He's also gone for the early. Yeah, but the problem is you've got to pay attention to this. Like, he's waiting. He should not be waiting, because look at this. Watch, okay, look, the Zed uses W where. And this is something I really want you guys to focus on, okay? Watch this. We got the Zed here, waiting for his W to come up, because he wants to go in for this kill that we already watched. Okay. It's used now, okay? We're gonna wait for it to cool down, obviously, so we get the right ticks here. Obviously, it already starts on cast. 5 seconds, right? It starts on cast. That's 20 seconds. All right? Vladimir, I always forget the exact number, but like 21, 22 seconds. So understanding just approximately what these crucial spells are in terms of their cooldown timer as you play and gain knowledge over what champions do, it's critical that you understand that. Because now I look at this and I'm finishing off my blue. Is there any reason to do Scuttle? No, because the Zac goes boom, 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 boom. Gonna be all up here for a little bit. Probably gonna go up here afterwards. Might even come back to this. There's no reason to fret over the Scuttle Crab right now. And we know that this W is down for 20 seconds, so we can guarantee get his flash. And obviously with the use of our beautiful ability, Smoke Screen, which is horrifically powerful, people just don't use it enough, we could actually do something interesting. But as you see, he doesn't, and he wants to do the crab first, jungle obsessions. And now, basically, he's gonna go to the mid lane here. He didn't look at his clock. Like, just watch the Z with your F keys. You can see clicking around. Okay, he uses W, 20 seconds on activation. If he's in the middle of using it, let's just assume it's maybe 15, so we have a little less time, gives us a buffer. And now we go to the lane here, and we didn't look at our game clock, 3:42, well, whenever he used it, and say, okay, look, he used the W at 3:25. That means at 3:45, it's gonna be up again. I have 3 seconds to go in before that W's up. Can we accomplish something? Now, obviously, this is because he did the Scuttle Crab. If he didn't do the Scuttle Crab, this would be easier said than done. And, you know, it's the same kind of thing when you're talking about, like, Jarvan EQ combo, 12 seconds. And the Z is going to still get almost rinsed here, but you know, if he didn't have that W up, right? If you played that with a little bit more time, you get the kill, you save yourself some time. Now we're waiting for our E to come off cooldown, so we should be able to get the kill very easily. That's not the issue. The issue isn't that we get the kill. I'm happy about that. The issue is that we could have gotten the kill and fallen back down and now done something about this bottom lane. We could counter jungle the 4-minute 19, 4-minute 20 Krugs. While the Zac is doing the top side, we have the Scuttle to fall back to, this to fall back to, this to fall back to. We have time to do a lot of stuff down here. Now we're top side, watching this Rocket get ganked by the Zac, and we spent time chasing a Zed. Yeah, we killed him, yeah, we burned his flash, all of that is good, right? We agree together that that is good. But now the Zac knows that you're gonna get the Scuttle Crab, and he's like, well, I'm okay with that. If he was a little bit cheeky, he might even try and just go straight for the Krugs, but I think at this stage, what do you think's gonna lure the Graves in besides his own stupidity? See, like, this is where you don't want to be as a Platinum jungler. You want to be more advanced than this, I think. I'm pretty sure. We talk a lot about it in the courses, this kind of stuff. Just not abusing, I think that's the biggest thing we talk about actually in the first example. Not abusing the lead that you could have, but you never realize. And in the very first breakdown on that Platinum course, I remember we had a Rengar going up here, a Vygank's bottom lane. So we know that the Krugs were going to spawn, we knew the vision control up here, we knew the Scuttle Crab situation, and he did all of those things in the wrong order, so he ended up on the Krugs doing them, counter jungling them as he should have, but at the wrong time, and the the Vi showed up and just burned his flash, and he lost the advantage. Whereas if he did it in the proper order, he gets it, gets out, gets a gank, gets a Scuttle, goes back to base. As the bottom side of Vi is nothing, wastes your time completely. Same thing with the Graves here. If we just shift our priorities a little bit, right, and focus on this W usage and getting that kill, that repeat kill here, huge, because that W wouldn't be up. He'd be forced to flash. We'd have 10 seconds to chase him, which is fine, considering we have auto reduction on our E, but our E is also, while it's a high cooldown, as long as you can stay close to him because of the W, you should be able to at least do something about it, given that he has no W, right? So you're not chasing him down out of range. You can keep autoing to reduce that, and you should be able to clean him up pretty quickly, especially with your Q then being in range. So, just stuff worth noting. Now, obviously, the Graves has got us Noon Quiver. We're sliding it down, skipping out the Krugs, because at this particular stage, hey, we can agree on this. We know that the Zed's moved down to ward. We saw that. Our bottom lane has pushed up and warded as well. We know the Zac's going to be on this side afterwards. And we also know that because he's going to be on this side, there's a possibility he tries to repeat stuff here. So we're not going to go for the Krugs. We could, but then you'd have to cut in, right? And you'd be less close, less proximal to the play. Now we cut out the Krugs, geographically most undesirable camp, Raptors, Wolves, Grump, and I can slide on down here and say, right, what is available for us? I don't always like going straight forward when we have Zed about to ding level 6. Malzahar is level 6 as well, but Zed has a little bit of positional prio, and we know the Zac is going to be in the area, as he shows by ganking on the bottom lane. So the Graves maybe wasn't thinking about those things a little bit. And that's the thing, right? I can look at this and go, hey, maybe he was thinking, but unless he tells me, and most of the time they do, no, I wasn't, you're kind of just presuming a little bit. But we can assess the actions, right, based upon what they're doing. So the Zac's going to repeat gank, stay in this lane, really investing. So in this particular case, if you had no intent on maybe shadowing this and doing much about it, although we do get a kill here, which is great from the Zero flashing in to get that kill, we could have just done the Krugs into the Raptors. And if Zach does show bottom lane before doing those camps and gets the kills, there's nothing for you to do on the bottom side. You could just counter jungle the side, right? Like you could take the Scuttle, you can counter jungle the Grump and the Wolves, and if you've got a regular top lane matchup, we could probably still go and kill the Garen here, no stress. Like the Soraka's doing way better than you would think. And yeah, you'd lose a dragon, but at least you'd have all of this under control and you'd have a lot of flow, right? So now we are able to counter gank and get some juice, so we can do the dragon. That's wonderful, wunderbar. And the Garen is going to move on down here. We see that, so we know it's warded. Now the question is, does the Zac come for his Reb? Well, I ruined it. Does he come down for his Reb buff and his Krugs and his Raptors again and repeat gank this, or does he try and go top side and try something else? In this particular game, if your bottom lane is Graves is staying, and your support everyone's refreshed already, then you can just go and maybe try something here. You can go mid lane together and try something after the dragon, especially if you don't need to reset. But because your bot lane is resetting, because your bot lane, Soraka ult, because your bot lane is resetting, oh, that's just close. And, you know, their whole team's going to be on the map. You don't want to go and counter jungle the red. So he goes back to base here, does his red buff. Huh. You see what I'm saying, though, again? Like, we watch this, we're on the red buff right now. We're watching this guy right here. We're watching everything he does, all right? He R's back to his shadow. He's watching, so he has W available. We're paying attention to that. He has W available. His flash is back up again. So this is something, if you notice, okay, no flash, no ult, no W, hey, don't go down here, right? You have 6. Where are you going? Come down here and try to do something. Even so, I would probably still try and get a gank off, right? We know the Zac is doing this, or this. It doesn't really matter exactly what he's doing, but we know we can handle ourselves against the Graves at this point. So let's try and full combo him and hit all the juice and try and get the kill. At least burn the flash again, right? Because if you can get a W, you can hit an auto or two, you hit a Q, you've got your E still, or your E in to get the W, doesn't really matter. If you've got that R, and you get him low enough, where he flashes to get away from you, right? Or Ws, you can still hit him with your R to finish. And that's where Dark Harvest is better, obviously, but, you know, you've got Fleet Foot work. I mean, there's a world where you kill him for sure, especially in Zelos. It's not like you're playing against Z99, which just reminds me of Wick99. I miss him. He was a very good Warwick in Korean Sova. So we go to the mid lane. We hold, okay? Again, like, you're trying the right shit at the wrong time and then not making it 100% efficient. That's the next level for Diamond and Mercer tier. I mean, it's easier said than done, and it's quite simple. It's overly simplified, but you know what I mean. When you see this guy low, like, why are we going around the back? You're to play in front to back. Go from the side, get an angle of approach, forces W out. You know, stick to him, force the flash out, and then if the flash plus a W renders him out of range of your R, just save your R. You burnt the flash. Cool, next time you can kill him. Invest in your own future. And in the meantime, Zac decided, upon doing his red quadrant again, to repeat gank on the bottom side. So if you're holding mid lane, you should see this on your minimap. Obviously, we're talking quite a lot about the Graves here and his angle of approaches, but we should see this. The TP is committed by the Malzahar, which is why this gets shoved out, right? Because we see that. He moves down to see this. He sees the Malzahar TP. He knows he's not going to get there in time. Therefore, we shove it out for the Malzahar, and the Zac now will go back to base, right? So what he does then is shoves it out, all right? Now goes to the bottom side here. Is that what he should have done? Think about it. What is the goal of the Zac now? The Zac's goal is going to be to take this topside quadrant, try and create prior and take this. The Graves, on the other hand, has decided to not play on that side whatsoever. Go to the bottom side to clear those camps up. We'll now sequence to the top side. Yes, we burned the Zed's flash. Well, there we go. Free kill for our bottom lane. We're not roaming with our team, but that's fine. We can take that. Now again, we just shove to push waves. Nah. I would have much preferred to focus on the top side, maybe creating pride, doing something with the Garen. Maybe we can invade the enemy jungle if we can kill them 1v1 and get the Herald. But what I will say is our bottom lane did rotate nicely. Our bottom lane were able to get a kill on the Zed, which is great, and we did rotate to see that. Now we see top lane. We know the Zac is in the mid lane. But you're seeing how it becomes quite disjointed a little bit, isn't it? Very much so. We're not prioritizing the right things at the right time. And it's a repeated theme. It's going to keep happening. And when you're thinking, oh, I've got a Soraka top lane, I'm being trolled, and then you look at it, it's like, actually, she's playing okay. Like, we can play around this, right? She's not inting. She's not inting, which is huge. Huge. Zac also is not thinking about the Herald, so we'll go ahead and take it. Obviously, we saw the Garen has moved down multiple times here, so the scanner control over this pit is important because he has shown the tendency to kind of move down a wall, but we just keep our eyes up. We have a look. We see Zach bottom lane. Great. We see the Garen back off. Great. We've got vision control. Great. All that's fine. So now we know we can get the free objective, right? So we have the dragon. We have the objective. That's great. If you're going to go down to the bottom side after shoving mid lane, the intent has to be to finish the whole quadrant, blue, grump, wolves, cut in as necessary, or cut in and do your plays, right? Just keep that quadrant clearing nice and smooth. Zach, we saw moving to the bottom lane, so we know he's going to go in. Lulu ults, Lulu flashes. We're now trying to peel back the Zach and the Swain as much as we can. So Soraka ults from the top lane. Zeri's like, can I please move? But she's getting slowed. We do get the passive proc, which is lovely, but not really going to do anything. In the meantime, Graves is doing his Raptors. Now, at this particular stage, I think it's a little odd because both junglers are obviously leaving camps up on the map. There we go. Nice gank with the Malzahar ulti because no flash, so that's at least good. We can activate the Herald should we want and punch these plates into juice. We see the pings coming through from the Zach, and he's like, what do you want me to do about this? It's 100% gone. So that's nice. That's okay. But, I mean, like, Grump being left on the map, the Wolves being left on the map, the Krugs being left on the map. Try not to do that. And again, you can think about it in terms of rewarding your actions with clearing the quadrants. You can think about it in terms of, hey, I can do Krugs, Raptors, and cut in, do stuff, fall back to this quadrant, reset, go to the Herald, do some stuff, counter jungle, fall back to this, or fall back to this, right? So, like, try and segment it that way. And, you know, you add a Wolf camp, you add a Grump camp, you add a Krug camp, you add a few counter jungling camps. Your CSPM just goes, you're gold. Your experience, it's all good, especially when you've got a Zach who's spam ganking one side of the lane. So, while the Graves has not played horrifically, all right, and I do advise you guys go the Ghostblade build, just to say, it is a little, it's more straightforward in terms of you know your spell's going to do damage, and you know your ult's going to finish people off. Like here, right, we're looking to go do this dragon, we see the Zed is moving, you know, our bottom lane's going to rotate now. This is all well and good. You know, like if you do the Grump and then you see an opportunity for something and you're going to cut your clear shot, that's fine. But I don't know if he's always thinking about that. It looks like he's just doing a camp because it's there and then he goes and does stuff. Like we could have very easily gone Wolves into the Grump, knowing that the Scuttle Crab was going to spawn. We saw the Zed roaming. Can we go and gank first? Fall back to the Scuttle and the Dragon. Like we didn't have to get to the Dragon at this particular stage, right? And because the mid lane turret is down, separate philosophy, if you're going to help your mid laner take that first turret early and they're a shove mid laner, you're going to have to do a lot of shadowing. A lot of shadowing because you know that they're going to push up innately, and if they don't roam and use their macro, the enemy jungler is going to feast. And we did not think about that, it seems, from Graves' perspective. So we are able to steal a red buff and go to the bottom lane from a good angle of approach, as always. I absolutely love, she flashes the Q against the wall, but we get the order, we ult to respace, and it's not the smoothest, is it? It's not the smoothest Graves, but fine. 104, 5 out of 6 KP. We have here the Zach is actually going to show up here to hold the wave. This is good. I like it. I like it when we're forcing enemy junglers just to hold waves and chill. But the Zach is only down 11 CS, and he's 204, and he has only 500 less gold than you, and your Graves. So that's where that denial and flow comes in quite nicely. Hopefully that makes sense. So now again, our bottom lane do have to go back to base, but I think because their bottom lane is a bit compromised, our Malzahar pushes it in, which is great, which is what we want. We'll get this dragon. Juicy, fresh, nice, fresh ice cream. Man, those ice cream trucks sometimes in the summer here in Europe, they're so annoying. So irritating. Like, you can just run it up and down the street with this really high-pitched, annoying truck noise while you're trying to record or think or study or there's a baby sleeping. Yeah. I mean, I like having ice cream delivered as much as the next guy, but can we make it more humane hours maybe? Yeah. Anyway, rant aside, we go for the blue. Happens. And now we're just running into a wave. So this is probably the worst gank I've seen in a few days. No CC on your lane, and Kai'Sa is going to reward them. Kai'Sa rewards this behavior. Unlucky, but it also showcases to you a very important point. You don't have to be challenger with everything you do to climb out of platinum, or gold, or silver. You just have to do the right thing, and even if it's at 8 out of 10 capacity or 7 out of 10 capacity, you're still gonna get rewards, right? Like the right decisions with decent mechanics are usually rewarded. Right decisions with great mechanics, all the way up you go. And now the Garen, excuse me, shoving in this Soraka onto this turret, and the Malzahar is now really lost about what to do with the lead on the turret, which is always the issue with taking the first turret on the mid lane. I'm not always the biggest fan with lower elo players because it's just like, or mid elo players if you want, it's just not a you just don't get the same pressure in the side lanes as you should. Like, this turret and this turret should not be up right now, given when we took that mid lane. It shouldn't be happening. Like, you and the Malzahar should be pushing and taking over those lanes. But we're not. And it's going to cost us. Kai'Sa goes ahead and kills Zeri and Lulu with the help of Zed, who decided to roam from his lane. So this is what we're looking for. So we do get the turret, of course, but that's the important point. If you can't push the turret, like, you get all these kills here, try and push it. Zac holds, which is great, which is the Zac's play here holding this turret makes this possible. Because now their bottom lane, the red tie bottom lane, has to spend time over-committing to get this turret. Zed is able to rotate and pick it up. So that's good from the Zac, right? That's good from the Zac. Now, from Graves' perspective, we're like, okay, fine, we're going to do these Krugs. We can probably go do the Raptors here and look to cut and see. This is what I'm talking about. Krugs, Raptors, sync up with our team, take the quadrant. Graves rotates. Zeri's in the bottom lane. If everyone rotates, we're a little bit screwed because we are only 3. Yes, there's a Herald on the map, but we do need to be slightly cautious about their positioning as they come and contest this potentially. Garen's going to clear that ward up. We're going to start it up. Soraka's going to move. Zeri's going to move. Zed and Kai'Sa go to the mid lane. Zac says, hey, we might as well try and kill this Malzahar here. Oof, stopwatch is burned. 4 people mid lane. We're going to go for this one. Garen is trying to bait them and wait them. Whatever that means. We're holding this turret now. No one is interested in contesting this. Very interestingly, they do have numbers. Blue team has numbers. You could just send 5 right here and actually make a huge play once you shoved in the Malzahar and the Zeri, but they did not do that. Lulu ults the Graves just for the sake of it. Really didn't have to there. We're going to miss the Q again. That was not good at all. You got to hit your skills, just like we were talking about. See, now you're spending time killing someone who should be dead, right? Now you die because of that, because you're not hitting the next target. Your team is now compromised. Zeri is dead, obviously. Somewhere else, and you're being pushed off. So much like the silver game we spoke about, your mechanics are important. In Platinum more so, because if you don't hit them, you will definitely lose game. You don't have that same window of failure as you would do in a silver game. So, yeah, it's a little bit irritating, but obviously I do recommend that Ghostblade tech instead. Much more, it's easier to kind of do, oh, again, you'd have to hit your spells, which he isn't doing. So maybe he just wants to auto-attack and auto-attack and auto-attack because you can't miss those. Although you could technically if you're not in range. Right, we have 4 people up here. Soraka's coming on down. We're stuck in a choke point against a Zac, against the Garen. We're being shoved away from the Dragon. We're going to go all in here from the Garen. Just boom, boom, boom. See, I like that though. I like that. The Garen goes way too far up, right? Immediately, Malzahar just says, I'm not going to wait to ult someone else. I'm going to ult this guy. We all focus this guy. Now we can focus the next guy. I like that. But of course, now crucial spells are down. I don't think the Graves has to ult. He wasted his ult. So now you have to be aware that you're going to be flanked most likely. You're still in a choke point. Zed's over there. We're watching this. We have the Zac go in here. We have the Swain show up. Zac gets an absolutely disgusting engage because we're in a choke point. Zed goes in. Swain goes in. Soraka is dead. The Kai'Sa just chilling on the back line here. Yeah, she's lower range, but it doesn't matter when there's 2, 3 beefy boys right in front of you. The importance of team fighting. That's why I spent so much time making that team fighting guide. It's just main channel or yeah. It's just really important to understand trigger pulls and when to use your spells. The Graves wasted his spells. Our whole team just walks through a choke point against a Zac, all bundled up. It's just perfect. That's where it's okay to kind of spread out a little bit. It's fine. Because what are you trying to kill here, right? And everyone's just chasing Kai'Sa like that blob from... what was the game? Goodness gracious, like 2015, an amazing game. You were playing this boy and you would run through this weird dystopian world and at the end you just became this blobby thing. Anyway, you kind of walk in and then the actual blob, the Zac, just ults all of you. So, yeah. That's probably where this game is thrown. And so basically you'd look at it in the match history and go, well, like, oh, the Graves played pretty solidly, right? Like he did a decent job and, you know, he had a Soraka top lane. And what could you expect him to do? Now the Lulu's out of position warding. The Graves and the Zeri are mid lane, you know? And the Soraka isn't the issue. It's tough with the Zac. It's tough with the Swain. It's tough with the fact that no one can get onto the Kai'Sa now. But you should just not be in these positions where you can be abused. We shouldn't be here. What do we fight? Like, I know we're fighting for Baron, but the map isn't conducive to us doing that. Push this out like you were doing it. Yeah, we activated the Herald, that's great. But in this particular case, what I like to do, you know, if you look at it here, we're cutting through back, we go to the mid lane, we're like, okay, look, we need to use the Herald. You know, if Lulu's dead, Lulu's dead. And Garen's killing the Malzahar. Soraka's going to rotate over. She has her ult available. I much prefer to not take this fight. I much prefer to force a shove and then just ditch. Keep yourself alive. If there's a doomed fight here 100%, you've activated the Herald and no one is here, and say the whole fight keeps going, like trailing up here, I would just keep pushing. That's the important part. If the whole blue team is somewhere else pushing and I have the Herald here, I just keep going. Force a rotation. Yeah, you're going to lose this, but at least force something. Take all of this shit. Go down here, push this wave out if you can. Always look to kind of release some pressure. Once we've activated the Herald here, and we rotate to this fight where we don't have numbers, Soraka isn't in the picture, we just get killed. Again, what's the best thing you can do in these games? Stay alive. Easier said than done, but just because there was no play to be made here doesn't mean that it's worth dying and then saying, well, I couldn't do anything else. Who knows what happens in 8 minutes time, right? Who knows how fed you can get because the enemy does something stupid. So just give yourself the opportunity to play the game out, right? The game isn't over or doomed because you have a Soraka top lane who's actually doing okay. Yeah. Malzahar is 1-4-2, but there's a lot of reasons for that. Malzahar players, man. Probably alt-tabbing perma. Ah, there we go. That's a lot of heal, and it goes through the Zhonya's. Should that be allowed? That was the ultimate question. It's an interesting philosophy. Should the Soraka ult be allowed to go through there? You could argue no. You could argue no, but again, it's Zhonya's burned, Soraka ult burned. Kai'Sa going for this, obviously, hybrid build. Garen's split pushing. See, now we're in a tough position. They've got the Baron. We're in a very, very, very tough position. This should be a slow bleed. So the dragon fight here, kudos to the Zac for the play. Huge. Right? But again, Graves probably threw it already here because he dies. Instead of just killing someone very quickly and then killing the next person, that compromises him. And it's just causing issues. Soraka is now freely dead. Garen is going to start to do Garen things. They have the Baron. He's forced to flash. You're not going to be able to kill him. Unless... Yeah. Zac shows up. No. Okay. I thought for a second maybe, but... I think I was trying to spin it positively. No. So, this game should be a tidy wrap-up at this point. Like, what do you do in this particular stage is always the question. How do I win this, guys? I have a Soraka top lane. Their teamfight's better. Hey, sometimes their teamfight is just damn better. That's just it. Sometimes there is no, like, immediate solution for you to deal with it. Right? There's just no magic pill. You just lose. Because you're not going to win every game. But you can look at it in terms of the Graves and say, okay, what if I played this fight better? What if I didn't die here? What if I didn't die here again? Those 3 moments are 3 of our deaths. And we were doing pretty, it wasn't perfect, but we were doing okay at that stage. What could I have done with that alive time? What could I have done if we killed everybody? What could I have done? What could have happened? And I think that's the important aspect here. Because, see, the Kai'Sa is going to do that and die. But if you're in a better game state and you're not down 12,000 gold, you could do something about this game, because they're always going to do that. So that's the point of view I would advise most of you taking, right? Don't look at it as, what should I do now? Look at it, how do we get here? And how do I avoid those 3 moments where I just didn't play properly, missed my spells, made the wrong decisions, and it compromised me entirely. So, not much happens. They just slow push this into the inhibitor, and they just kind of LCS it, I guess. The game goes on a little longer than it needs to, I think, but I'm happy with blue team taking their time, get all the inhibs. Zac goes a little too deep, no passive dies, we hit the turret. Now we don't have numbers, they're all up, so now you have to be a little cautious. Soraka ultimate. Blue team should just ditch. Zeri's able to get a kill. Graves is now 7-4-5 himself, killing the Zed there. Should be able to kill the Kai'Sa as well. Like, see? There's always the possibilities of victory. Now the problem is that Garen is alive. So I anticipate him trying to do some backdoor stuff. Boom, baby. They could have still done it. Like, I feel like you should still be able to 2-man this, but Garen's just so fed. Yeah, you can't. The slow bleed. And now blue team will go up. They will take the Baron. And then they will just come back and end. So, hopefully you can see how the decisions you have in the early game, as you go into the mid game, that reverberation, you know, domino effect. Yeah. Because the Zac played well. The Zac does deserve his victory. Like, he made some good plays. He held waves when he needed to. Do think the Graves had a few opportunities, but it wasn't like it was an obvious game. It's just largely team fighting. Hitting your spells, man. Hit your spells. It costs some time. Every auto, every time you chase. Every time you spend 5 to 10 seconds killing someone you should have killed with your spells hitting. That's important in this elo. It becomes very important because it's going to keep becoming more and more important the higher you climb. Really is so. Oh, yeah. Blue team are like, can we just end this game already? 3 ocean dragons now, because obviously we took the first 2 graves. There, you just hit the nexus. Like, the Soraka, you're seeing how the red team held on for a while, just being resilient and irritating in their base. Imagine if we were only down 1 or 2k gold or ahead in gold. So, there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned something. Stuff to discuss in the private Discord through the memberships for courses as well. See you all in the next video.